When simplified, Charles Darwin's 1859 theory of evolution advocates for the survival of the fittest, the most intelligent, and those with advantageous traits. Fast forward almost 150 years, and the advent of the internet brought with it the popularization of the Darwin Award, bestowed upon those who meet their demise in especially absurd or reckless manners. The satirical award suggests the individual effectively strengthened the human gene pool by removing themselves from it. In early 2023, this woman was caught on camera trying to take the perfect selfie, only inches from a 2,000-pound wild bison at Yellowstone National Park. Thankfully, the animal was rendered motionless by the sheer stupidity taking place in front of it, and the woman lived to see another day. However, had this event ended badly, it would have undoubtedly resulted in a nomination for the coveted Darwin Award, just like the following people in this video. Home to more than 1.4 billion, India has one of the highest death rates while attempting a selfie. A study conducted at a university in New Delhi found that between 2014 and 16, 127 people died worldwide while trying to take a selfie, and more than half of those happened in India. Prabhu Bhattara, a taxi driver in the eastern province of Orissa, was transporting a party of wedding guests on a May afternoon in 2018. At some point along the drive, he spotted what appeared to be an injured sloth bear in a clearing just a few yards off the road. The sloth bear, not to be confused with a sloth, although it usually chooses to flee rather than fight, is immensely strong. In fact, strong enough to fight off a tiger. While many of us might have chose to call authorities to report an injured animal, Mr. Bhattara saw an opportunity for the perfect selfie. After stopping his taxi and heeding advice not to, he proceeded to exit the car and approach the bear. However, in a photogenic mood, the injured animal was not, and too injured to flee, it chose to fight. The ordeal was caught on a series of blurry snaps by his disapproving passengers, and even with the help of a stray dog, who joined the fight on the human side, the injured bear emerged victorious. While Mr. Bhattara didn't get his selfie, the internet did nominate him for the prestigious Darwin Award later that same year. Although getting tranquilized to remove the man's body, the bear received veterinarian care and recovered from its injuries, and the dog was reported to be unharmed. In February of 2008, British man 46-year-old David Monk, along with 3 friends, Alan McGregor, Richard Watkins, and an unnamed fourth, went on a 4-day skiing trip in the Italian Alps near Turin on the foot of the French border. Hugely popular with British skiers, Salzy-Dul is one of 5 villages that make up the Via Lattea, or Milky Way ski area, known for its party atmosphere, where tourists ski by day and drink by night. In the early hours of Saturday, the 2nd of February, the 4 men enjoyed some drinks at one of the local bars. However, the walk back to the resort passed by the foot of one of the more than 140 ski lifts in the area. It goes without saying that the best decisions are not always made in combination with a few drinks. Spotting the thick foam safety padding wrapped around one of the ski lift support beams, the men thought it would be fun to remove one and use it as a mat to sledge down the mountain. After removing the padding from the nearest support beam, they carried it a short way up the mountain before placing it on the snow, and all 4 men hopped on board. As they pushed off, they undoubtedly felt the cool, snowy breeze rushing past them. However, any pleasurable sensations abruptly stopped when the makeshift sledge and its passengers collided with one of the ski lift support beams at high speed. The positive side of the situation was that the resort management had thoughtfully installed thick foam padding on the support beams to protect skiers from potential injuries in the case of a collision. The downside, however, was that the men had just minutes earlier removed the padding from the very support beam they had just crashed into. With severe injuries to his head and chest, the father of 2, 46-year-old David Monk The impact with the solid metal support beam was instantly fatal, while his friends Alan McGregor and Richard Watkins sustained more survivable injuries and spent time recovering in an Italian hospital. Long-time viewers to the channel may remember this next story, as I did a full-length video on it earlier last year. Although being one of my earlier efforts, I wouldn't necessarily recommend going back to watch it. Home to almost 33 million people, Malaysia, situated in Southeast Asia, has become increasingly modern and has seen a rise in living standards over the past few decades. However, in the smaller villages and rural locations, many still live in varying degrees of poverty, and when the opportunity to make a few extra dollars arises, many would no doubt take it. At around 3 AM on January 28, 2018, local man Zain Koznin was riding his bike home in the early hours of the morning when he spotted a 13-foot-long reticulated python sitting on the side of the road. Although not venomous, reticulated pythons are exceptionally strong, can kill their prey by constriction, and are known to attack humans. Regardless, with the ability to fetch around $25, unemployed Zaim thought it would be a good idea to catch the snake and try sell it. And with nothing more than a pair of gloves, he grabbed it, hopped back on his bike, and holding it by its head, proceeded to ride home with it. However, the python had no interest in becoming a snakeskin boot, belt, or handbag and chose to fight back. Coiling itself around its captor, the snake squeezed him to death and remained attached to him until being killed itself a few hours later by the authorities. Although one can sympathize with a man so desperate he would take a risk for such a small amount of money, users of the official Darwin Awards website voted him a winner in 2018. On the 28th of October 2019, 47-year-old Tetsu Shihara fell more than 3,000 feet to his death, all while live streaming to his audience. 62 miles west of Tokyo, Mount Fuji is one of Japan's 3 holy mountains, a 12,000-foot active volcano visited by religious pilgrims, mountain climbers, and sightseers. The climb is cold and dangerous even during the summer, when amenity stations are staffed for the benefit of climbers. In the off-season, however, conditions are downright hostile. Winter climbers need the proper gear, climbing experience, and a sprinkle of common sense. On this day, Tetsu, as he was known to his online audience, appeared to lack all 3. Underdressed and carrying only a pair of climbing poles, he fired up his smartphone and proceeded up the Shubashiri Trail, a path typically used only for the descent, all while live streaming to his audience. As the ash turned to snow, and the snow turned into even deeper snow, viewers were treated to a litany of complaints about cold hands and a lack of the right equipment. For many, this might have been the time to give up and head back. Likely motivated by a reluctance to disappoint viewers, he stomped on further. Frequently cautioning himself against slipping, he mutters to his audience, "Must continue to operate," referring to his live stream. "Oh, this place is slippery, getting dangerous." Repeatedly tripping and stumbling, continuing his commentary, he more than once asks himself if he's on the right track. Viewers likely knew the answer. Finally, as he uttered the words, "Wait, I think I am slipping," at this point, experienced climbers would tell you that you have just one chance at self-arrest. However, dedicated to the cause, that cause being likes and followers, it became apparent the live stream was more important, and in an instant he began an uncontrolled slide down the rocky snow face, with feet flailing and poles tumbling free as the stream continued. The footage abruptly stops with a static image showing a climbing pole frozen in mid-flight. Flabbergasted viewers promptly alerted the authorities, and his body was discovered the next day, more than 3,000 feet below where he began his fall. For his efforts, however, users of the official Darwin Award website voted him a winner in 2020, the first Japanese national to win the coveted prize. Now for a couple of shorter honourable mentions. On Saturday the 14th of August 1999, 47-year-old Daniel Nolan of London, Ohio, would complete an act that would see him win a Darwin Award the following year. Described by police as a man with an extensive criminal record, he had honed his craft of thievery over the years. On that fateful August night, Daniel went on a stealing spree across the city, breaking into car dealerships, jacking up vehicles and stealing parts. However, after breaking into a Buckeye Ford dealership, his luck ran out when his target slipped off the jack and landed squarely on his chest, where it remained until being discovered by employees the following Monday morning. This next story was never officially nominated for a Darwin Award, but I think it definitely warrants a mention. American visual effects editor 29-year-old Catherine Chappell, who worked on the hit TV show Game of Thrones and movies such as Captain America: The Winter Soldier, visited South Africa to raise money for a wildlife conservation charity. As part of that tour, on the 1st of June 2015, she visited the Lion Park in Johannesburg, where tourists can get up close and personal with the lions, all from the comfort of their vehicles. However, in the interest of safety, guests must adhere to a very strict rule: you must not wind down your window. Tragically though, sitting in the back seat of the vehicle, that's precisely what she did. This photo, taken by a tourist in the vehicle behind, captures the moment right before a lioness leaped halfway into Catherine's vehicle. Despite attempts from the front seat occupants to push the lion off her, Catherine sustained unsurvivable injuries and died shortly after. If you enjoyed today's video, I'd love it if you considered subscribing and joining me for the next one. To watch my video about a man who lost his life when he made a rather poor decision after riding the Raptor roller coaster at Cedar Point, you can click the link on screen. And as always, thanks for watching.